Howdy, everybody. Welcome back to Ride or Die. Somehow, some way, I don't, I legitimately don't understand how, but I managed to get a Nintendo Switch 2 on launch day with minimal effort. Basically, what happened was on a whim, I decided to look online at one of the major retailers. I'm not going to say which one because I don't want to give people false hope. And also, they have to pay me to talk about them. And I just checked the store down the street from us, and it said that they had some in stock on Friday. What would that have been? June 6th. And it said they had some in stock, so I decided that I was going to take the drive 3 miles down the road and just see what happened. I walked in, it was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and there was no one there. There was a single person working behind the counter in the electronics area. And I said, "Do you guys have the Nintendo Switch 2?" And she goes, "Yeah, which one do you want?" So not only do they have it, I have a choice. And they had everything else in stock too. They had the controllers, they had the games, all of it. It was all just sitting there. There was no one else there. It was just me and this attendant for the electronics section. After a little bit of deliberation, I decided on the standalone version. I knew if I didn't pick up Mario Kart physical and I got it digital, I would want to buy it, physical somewhere down the road. And I just don't want to deal with that. I'd rather just get it physical to start off with and save myself the hassle. So that's what I did. I paid $80 for Mario Kart World. We'll have more on this in a few minutes. I cannot tell you how unprepared I was for this to have happened. I have done little to no research on the Switch 2. I did not research any of the accessories that are coming out. I barely looked into any of the games outside of Mario Kart World. I assumed I would be picking one up in the next few months. And to be quite honest, after my last video where I talked about how I was really not super looking forward to the Nintendo Switch 2 era, even standing there looking at them, I almost didn't pull the trigger. And to be honest, the thing that really did it for me is that I live in the United States. Things have been kind of tumultuous, and with tariffs and all these things that are coming down the road, we don't know, if these consoles are going to be available widely forever. Will they go up in price? So the ability to get one and get one at that time was that overweighed everything, or outruled everything, I guess I would say. So I went ahead and I picked it up. I picked up Mario Kart World. I am in the process of picking up the Tom Talk Slim case. That should take a couple weeks to arrive. Unfortunately, like I said, I didn't plan to do any of this. I have a screen protector coming. I no more expected them to have stock and for me to be able to walk in and pick that thing up as nothing. I just assumed the website was wrong. If nothing else, I'd taken a little excursion out of the house. So this really blindsided me. That being said, I spent the first full day with the console trying to do a bunch of different things, transferring over all my games. Newsflash, they didn't fit. I had over a terabyte worth of games on my Nintendo Switch. When you do the system transfer to the Nintendo Switch 2, it brings over all of your save files, but it also attempts to re-download all of your games. So it is still in the process of doing that as I speak. It is very slow. The Nintendo Switch 2 download hasn't gotten any faster. Who could have guessed? And I have a 256 gigabyte SD Express memory card on its way to me from Best Buy that should hopefully arrive today to help deal with that. So I'm going from over a terabyte of storage down to 512 gigabytes. So not everything's going to go onto the new Switch 2, and I'm just going to have to figure it out. I am not going to pay $200 for a terabyte SD express card. I'll do that for video equipment, some filmmaking gear, stuff like that, but I'm not going to do that for a video game console. It's just kind of ridiculous in my opinion, and they're just offloading those costs to us, and that's where the game key cards become such a big problem, why I think that it's such a ripoff at the end of the day. So anyway, all of that aside, what are my thoughts on the Switch 2? What I think, based off of looking at this thing, is that this is the premium home console. This is the Wii or the Wii U or the GameCube. This is meant to be the nice thing. I think basically the idea is that the Nintendo Switch 1 could hang around, and it will be the actual portable, like the one that you give to your kids, the one that if the Joy-Cons break on it, you just replace them, that kind of thing. And the games would be cheaper, a little bit more affordable, and they'll look a little bit lower quality, which is exactly what the Nintendo DS was. It's exactly what the Game Boy Advance was. It was a little portable version of your home console with slightly lower quality graphics and cheaper costed games. So I think it's possible that they are, thinking of doing that with the Nintendo Switch 1. Like that will become the little brother console. I think that's kind of the hope, because I haven't really totally understood the Nintendo Switch 2 until I held it and started working with it. My thoughts overall are that this is just a souped up Nintendo Switch with much better graphics. I think that I would have a much better opinion of it if they had allowed or created some more graphical showcases for the system. They had put some things out that were going to really wow us. Mario Kart World, it has some cool lighting effects and things like that, and it looks really good. It definitely looks about as good as it possibly can. The big thing that it's doing is making spaces a lot larger. So it's using that graphical power to have more wide open spaces, to have things further off in the distance, have no pop in. They're really playing around with the idea that they could just have something far, far out and you're still going to be able to see it. That stuff's all cool, and I like it. Does that make this game worth $80? No, not at all. Not in the slightest. This is not an $80 game. This game, at best, should have been $75. And if it was going to be $80, Nintendo should have come forward and said that they planned to add more tracks in the future, or they plan to have online competitions, because a lot of people have stated kind of that Mario Kart 8 had become like a platform similar to Fortnite. Fortnite is a platform for games, and a lot of people build things out of it. Mario Kart 8, with however many tracks, dozens and dozens of tracks, it had become a thing where you go in and you kind of pick what you want to do. Mario Kart World is definitely angled towards that possibility, but since they haven't told us that it's going to be that way, it's not worth $80. They shouldn't have charged $80 for this. I don't know what they were thinking. They got the whole console generation off to a bad start, and at best, this should have been $75. I think if they walked up to the $75 line with this, we would be having much different conversations about this game, because this, I don't know how to explain this, but this is maybe a $75 game. It is not an $80 game. It's just what it is. So, that being said, Mario Kart World is really like the big launch title, and it's the big graphical showcase. And it has some great animation. It has the cool effects and stuff, but a lot of the power of the system is going into having 24 racers on screen and having that kind of epic draw distance. Otherwise, it's the same sort of cartoonish graphics. I'm sure if I go back and look at Mario Kart 8, it will look a little bit more antiquated. But the only other comparison that I could make from a system to another system was I pulled up Fortnite on my Xbox Series X, and then I pulled up the same mode on the Nintendo Switch 2. And there's a Fortnite Nintendo Switch 2 game now that's optimized to take advantage of all of the things the Nintendo Switch 2 is supposed to do. Unfortunately, it just didn't look as good. It didn't have like seemingly like the ray tracing or the lighting effects turned on. Maybe they'll add that stuff over time to Fortnite. I mean, Fortnite is a sort of generally broadly appealing game, but it definitely 100% without a doubt looks much better on my Xbox Series X, which, the Switch 2 is not meant to be as powerful as that system, but that game in particular looked particularly flat and sort of basic on the Switch 2. So that's the only like cross console comparison I have to draw at this point. As I've said, I'm probably not going to be buying too many physical games because as long as they're keycard games, I'm not interested in them. If they're digital and they're full price, I'm also not interested in them. If they come way down in price, sure, let's go for it. Why not? I'll try it out if they're cheap enough. Because again, at the end of the day, digital purchases are really just kind of long-term rentals. But all that stuff is going to impact how involved I get with this stuff into the future. I've had one major disappointment, which is that my 8BitDo SN Pro 2, I think that's what this is called, does not work out of the gate. It has a firmware update that they've put out, but on my Mac at least, applying that firmware update does not work. So as of right now, I can't use this with my Switch 2. I don't regret having purchased the Switch 2, but it is a little underwhelming here right from the start. We don't have a lot of stuff to like really work with. Looking forward, it's going to be like a month. Some of these things are like 2 months out for like DLC for the new Kirby game. I don't quite understand the strategy there. I think it would have made sense to hit us with more of a graphic powerhouse than Mario Kart World. I really think they should have dropped the DK Bonanza game at the same time rather than wait a month. I know that Nintendo likes to drop a title every month, and that's kind of their deal. It makes it easier for them to, only promote what they're actually focused on. In any case, overall thoughts. It's really just a souped-up Nintendo Switch, at least at this point. It felt very weird to get a new Nintendo console and not really have like a gimmick to dive into and like really go at it and try it out. It's sort of just a whiff of a launch overall. I don't know if the fact that I walked in and just was able to pick up a Nintendo Switch meant that, these are widely available and you can just get them wherever you want. But it was really surprising. What does that mean for the future of the console? Probably nothing. It'll probably be fine. It'll probably do okay. But I do think that the value added with the Switch 2 right now is low. You spend a lot of money, and as of right now, the big thing that you're really going to get is Mario Kart World. I don't think I will regret this long term, but if somebody, altogether, the console, I would say, and this game in my area with tax, it cost about $570. And that's a lot. And that's especially a lot if this is a console you're getting for your kid. You're going to hand it to them, and the next thing they're going to do is drop it on the ground. So how this is all going to play out will be really interesting. I guess stay tuned. And as I said, if we get like more fully physical games on this, I do like this. I do like this system. If we get more fully physical games, if game key cards die out, yeah, I can see myself buying more games. Not for $80, but definitely when the prices come down a little bit. And Nintendo absolutely is going to have to start playing the price game because On the other consoles now, not everybody, goes in at $70 on a lot of those games. They wait. Nintendo's going to have to start dropping prices as well. It's just how it is. If they want to clean up, if they want to get all the people who don't really care a $70 or $80 amount, they're going to have to bring prices down on some of these games eventually. Sales, whatever it is. So those are my thoughts for now. Sorry if that's a little long-winded or rambling. I didn't have a whole lot, on my mind. Again, totally shocked that I even got one. But I will keep you updated as time goes on, and I will let you know as I'm kind of picking things up. And yeah, have a great day.